I'm Jenna Essenberg, and I am your child's honors world literature teacher for the fall of 2021 at North Cobb High School. I wanted to go over a little bit about what this course is all about. So in this course, it is a semester-long look at literature from around the world. And our main goal is to be able to immerse our students into cultures that are both familiar and unfamiliar to them. We're hoping that the students get a better grasp of the world around them and the way that they fit into this world around them. Our units, we have 4 of them. So our first unit is the one we're ensconced in right now. This is on individuals taking a stand. Most recently, we've been reading a work by a Holocaust survivor named Elie Wiesel. We've looked at his speech, The Perils of Indifference, and we've been talking a lot about bystanders and the bystander effect and how we can take a stand for things that we feel strongly about. Next, we'll move into cultural identity, and then communities in crisis, and then power and control. And each of our units is comprised of daily assignments, projects, tests, and quizzes. In terms of grading categories, we grade by standard. So the largest portion of our students' grades come from reading and writing. Those are the 2 key things that we do in any literature class. We also have grades coming from the speaking and listening category, which is another one of our standards, our state standards. In honors, we have 2 special categories. The reflecting category is where we are kind of looking at students' metacognitive abilities, so their ability to think about their thinking. How are they able to justify answers that they're giving on standardized tests or reader response that they're having to books that we're reading. The final exam is a portfolio-based assignment. It's a project, essentially, where students think back to works that we've read this semester and work that they've accomplished this semester, and they do a little bit of reflecting on things that they liked the most. Now, the other factor is the pre-course reading, and this used to be called summer reading. We've changed the term because some of our students, being that we're on block schedule, are taking this class in the spring instead of the fall, so at that point it isn't really summer reading. Pre-course reading, however, means reading to be done before class. So before any year that your student is going to take an honors literature class, they have pre-course reading, and that is usually 1 to 2 books. The usual assignment is just to read the books and to come prepared to use them in the first unit of the class. For our students, they had a variety of books they could choose from, and they were to read 2 books and track the characters' journeys throughout the books. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but the pre-course reading assignment, so the project that we use to assess whether the pre-course reading has been done or not, that was just due. It was actually due on the 20th, which was last Friday. So if your student did not complete that assignment, they already have a 0 showing up in the grade book for it, and I wrote a note in the grade book saying did not turn in. I'll talk in a minute about late work and things like that, but your student was made aware of this exact project on the 6th, so that was the first Friday of our school year, and they had about 2 weeks of time to work on that project. So if your student is currently showing a 0 for it, they had ample warning, ample time to work, but I am happy to talk to you via email about any concerns you might have regarding that project. Now, we are having a lot of absent students just because of the times that we're living in. So if a student is not able to be in class, they are required to make up the work that they're missing. Usually what I do is enter a 0 into the grade book as a placeholder. I want that student to know, number 1, that they've missed an assignment that's for a grade, but number 2, what their grade would look like should they not turn in that assignment. I think sometimes when we don't put in 0s, it's not really a clear picture of where the student is right now. So that's what that 0 is for. The 0 will come out and will be deleted the minute that work gets turned in. I use what's called a course matrix. That is basically an online calendar that I use where I link all of the work that we're doing on a daily basis. I will show you what that looks like in a moment, but this is the best place for students to go when inevitably they are absent. It is linked in our CTLS classroom. And like I said, everything is linked there. It is an excellent resource for students. And I encourage you as the parent or guardian to access that as well so that you can see what it is that we are doing in class. Now, in terms of late work, which would be anything that is not turned in on the due date, so the date that it was actually due, students can turn in that work for up to 3 days past the late day, past the due date, I'm sorry, and they will only be penalized 10%, which means that a student could still potentially earn a 90, which is still an A. After those 3 days, though, the work will not be accepted and it will become 0. So what that means is that a student who is in class present on, let's say the work was due on Friday, they could turn it in up to Wednesday of the next week for only a 10% penalty. Obviously, that is a great instance where students should really communicate with the teacher about why they're not turning in the work on the date that it is due and making a plan to make sure that that work does in fact get in. And this is the course matrix that I was referring to. It is in CTLS, but also the students have access to it via Remind and all kinds of things that I've used in class. You can see for each day, I list an agenda of what we accomplished, and I link any documents or videos or anything that we utilized in class that would need to be accessed for makeup. You can see here, for instance, for that pre-course reading assignment, we actually talked about it on Monday of that very first week of school. The actual assignment was linked here. This right here would have been the list of books that was given out for students to read over the summer. And then on Friday of that week, the 6th, we actually went over the instructions for the photo essay project, which was the assessment for the pre-course reading. So here in the highlighted, you can see that they were told it was due on August the 20th, which it shows up here in red. It was due by 11:59 p.m. on that day. So I encourage students to go here, but parents as well. You're welcome to come here to see what we're doing in class and to maybe make sure that your student is keeping track of their work. I'm already having such a great time getting to know our students, so many personalities. It's very fun to have students back in the classroom again. This is my 10th year at North Cobb High School. I love teaching here. I've actually been teaching this class since I started here at North Cobb, so it's my 10th year. And I really do love teaching it. I love exposing kids to topics and cultures and things that they may not have already been aware of, but also maybe playing into cultures that they themselves belong to, being able to share that with their peers. So please reach out to me in email if you have any questions. You are also welcome to join my Remind for the class, which is where I communicate due dates, and I use that to talk to the kids on a one-on-one basis about missing work and things like that. So if you are interested in joining, you can ask your student for the Remind code or feel free to email me as well. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.